The moment the photo hit, a casual walk, arm in arm, through Roman streets, and just like that, the entire conversation, everything, it just shifted.
No, it really did.
Hollywood had a brand new obsession, what we're calling the shock speed romance.
And we are going to dive deep into this today. You have these two massive forces, right? Zoe Kravitz, who is this fiercely talented Hollywood creative, a director.
A force.
A total force.
Yeah.
And then you have Harry Styles, the global music vanguard. I mean, every single move he makes basically dictates culture.
And this wasn't just big news. It's like, it's a masterclass in how to do this. The relationship went from this fiercely guarded secret to meeting her rock star dad and getting inside this super guarded creative bubble faster than any couple we've tracked. Ever.
Yeah, we've taken the entire stack of sources on this romance. All the sightings, the insider quotes, the timeline breakdowns, and our mission today is really to pull out the key moments.
Exactly. This is your shortcut to understanding the velocity of it all, the newest A-list power couple, and why the sheer speed of it matters so much.
It's really a perfect study in how stars manage these incredible pressures. They've got this strategic commitment happening in private.
Right.
But the story they're telling in public is carefully controlled. Often it's just, it's casual.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning. Back in August 2025, what we're calling the European ignition phase.
Okay.
Because the timing of it all immediately showed us what Zoe Kravitz's priorities were. This whole thing got off the ground by basically shutting down a completely different celebrity rumor in, less than a week?
And that's key. The visibility was everything. Zoe was on a huge press tour for her movie Caught Stealing.
Right.
And that professional schedule created the perfect cover for misdirection. Everyone was looking at what was right in front of them, not where her focus really was.
So, okay, August 21st, Zoe's in Paris doing her job promoting the premiere, and she gets photographed having what everyone called a flirty dinner outing with her co-star, Austin Butler.
And the pictures were good. I mean, they were leaning in, talking closely.
Yeah, you see them and you think, okay, here we go. The gossip columns just lit up. The co-star romance is on.
But that whole narrative was so fragile. It existed for, maybe 48 hours? And then the entire timeline just got completely blown up.
Because the second she was done with her work in Paris, I mean, the minute she makes this massive international pivot. She flew to Italy to join Harry in Rome.
And we already had reports of them kissing at Rita's in London a few days before that, around mid-August.
But the Rome move, that was the confirmation. That was the real story.
Let's just think about the logistics of that for a second. To finish a high-pressure press tour, deal with international travel, and then immediately make it your top priority to meet up with a new partner in a major city.
A city crawling with paparazzi.
Exactly. It just signals that the connection with Styles was the real deal. It was prioritized, and it was way, way more significant than some co-star rumor. It was a statement.
And even in those first few Rome sightings, we got this fascinating glimpse into how Harry Styles controls his privacy. We have to talk about that one viral moment. They're walking arm in arm, and a TikTok user goes up to him and asks for a photo.
And this is where you see the absolute sophistication of A-list brand management. He politely says no, right? He says he was offline.
I'm offline.
He's allowing the pictures with Zoe. That's the official controlled visual that tells the story of their partnership. But he's drawing this very clear line. He's not a commodity for a fan photo.
But he did it so smoothly. The fan even said that even though he said no, Styles was so sweet and held my hand.
The velvet glove.
Totally. It preserves that warm, accessible public image while he is, ruthlessly controlling the visual story.
That's the genius. That's why he has this longevity. He controls the narrative, he controls the visuals, which protects the whole enigma of his brand, but then he softens it with that personal touch, so his reputation stays intact.
So, okay, let's just break it down. Her immediately flying to Italy right after a huge work thing, it just shows this was not a casual hookup. It was priority number one, right from the jump. And if you're loving this forensic breakdown of how this timeline just exploded, make sure you're subscribed. We have so much more coming up about how they navigated family and even his creative work.
For sure. The European phase set the commitment level. But the next phase, the shock velocity of it all back in North America, that showed the intent to, fully merge their lives. It went from 0 to 60 in no time.
So the unofficial public confirmation comes pretty much right away when they get back to the States. September 3rd, they're photographed holding hands in Brooklyn.
And that's the classic A-list signal.
Game over. No more hiding. Whatever no labels talk there might have been, it ends right there with that photo.
And anyone who watches Hollywood knew this was not a mere fling. For someone like Harry Styles, who is so protective of his personal life, holding hands in a busy part of Brooklyn isn't casual. It's basically a press release to the world saying, this is serious.
Sources even confirmed he wouldn't have gone public with Zoe if it wasn't anything.
And then, the real shocker. The moment that I think made everyone's jaws drop, it happened just 3 days after that Brooklyn sighting.
This is the detail that stunned us.
Yep, September 6th. Harry Styles met Zoe's father, the legend himself, Lenny Kravitz, for lunch in New York City.
We have to just pause on this, because the significance here is it's off the charts. Meeting a partner's parents is a big deal for anyone.
Of course.
But meeting Lenny Kravitz, a legitimate rock icon, a fiercely private, respected guy, within weeks of your first public sighting, that just completely overfits any, oh, we're just keeping it casual narrative.
It's definitive.
Yeah.
It signals immediate acceptance into her very private, very cool family circle. Think about the normal timeline for these A-list couples. It can be months, sometimes a year, of careful dating before a family intro happens.
Especially a family that high profile.
Right. So the fact this happened so fast just shows that both of them were completely on the same page about how serious this was. Sources said everyone looked like they had a great time. It just shows so much confidence in where this was going.
Okay, but that brings up a really interesting question. How do we square the actions flying across the world, meeting the dad with the initial story? Early reports were all framing it as casual or just hooking up. What's with that discrepancy?
Well, that's textbook managed PR. It's a strategy. By letting those casual or flirty slang descriptors out there at first, they did two things. One, they lowered public expectations.
Right, so if it fizzled out, no big deal.
Exactly. The media has an easy exit narrative. But more importantly, it bought them private time before the intense scrutiny really kicked in. Their actions, the family lunch, and the creative stuff we're about to get into, that was the real status update.
So the words were a smokescreen while the actions told the truth.
Precisely. Which leads us to the creative alliance. This is, I think, the strongest indicator that this is built to last. Later in September, Zoe joins Harry in Berlin while he's working on his new album, LP4.
And for an artist like him, letting someone into that creative space, that's a huge deal.
It's the inner sanctum. He is notoriously private about his process, his unreleased music. He doesn't just share that with anyone. That space is, it's sacred territory.
And insiders noted that her being there shows how important she is as part of the creative bubble process for him. This isn't just a date night in Berlin. This points to professional trust, artistic respect.
100%. When a relationship like this moves from just being romantic to sharing a creative space, it's a whole new level. It suggests this is a partnership built on a really deep artistic understanding, not just attraction. And later in the episode, we'll get into the shocking twist that this connection created for pop culture history.
Okay, let's go there now. Let's talk about the biggest cultural story this relationship has sparked, because it connects them directly to Taylor Swift.
The Taylor Swift wedding question. You just can't talk about Harry Styles in 2025 without acknowledging the whole Haler legacy.
And the question hanging over this new couple is, could Harry Styles actually go to the wedding of Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, and how would that even work?
The answer is all about Zoe. Her social power. She is a longtime inner circle friend of Taylor Swift. She's on that guaranteed attendees list for the wedding. Zoe is the diplomatic key to this whole thing.
She's the bridge.
She is the bridge. And this is even a possibility because Harry and Taylor have such a civil, almost warm relationship now, despite their history back in, 2012, 2013?
We've seen it. They've shown civility and mutual support. You saw them talking at the Grammys in 2020 and 2023. Sources are clear there's absolutely no bad blood.
So the media consensus is that for them, his presence won't be much of a big deal. But the public, the public debate is fierce. Fans are totally divided on what this would mean.
Right. There are two camps.
Exactly. One camp sees it as this huge cultural win. Like, it signifies total closure for a past era, the relationship that inspired a chunk of 1989. For them, is proof that you can move on and be friends.
But the other side is just focused on the sheer awkwardness of it all. You know, the potential awkwardness inherent in having a high-profile ex at your wedding. They worry it would steal the focus.
And that's why this is also fascinating. Zoe's ability to navigate this, to bridge that gap, is the final piece of the puzzle. If she pulls this off, it cements their status as this stable, socially integrated A-list power couple.
And just to prove this is still going strong, the latest sighting we have, late November, right before the holidays, put them back in Rome, packing on the PDA, acting very in love. It just confirms they're committed to making the logistics of this high-speed, jet-setting relationship work. Don't miss our next deep dive, by the way. Make sure to hit that subscribe button.
So this relationship is defined by intensity, by speed. London kisses to meeting Lenny to the Berlin studio all within weeks. They managed the transition from a secret fling to a public, family-approved partnership in record time.
So what does it all mean for their future? I think you said it, the integration into his creative world, that feels like the strongest sign of long-term viability. They've handled the media, the family, the travel.
Yeah, but what stands out most to me is the merging of their professional worlds. Looking ahead, the real test won't just be the PDA in Rome or if he goes to the wedding.
Mm-hmm.
The real question is, do they make that creative synergy official?
How so?
Could we see Zoe Kravitz, the celebrated director, directing a music video for Harry Styles' LP4? Now that would be the ultimate power move. That's when the shock speed romance becomes a true, lasting partnership.
You've been listening to StarScope Report, where Jordan and Jamie uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.